Picture this, you're speaking from the heart, trying to be real, and the person across from you tunes out, eyes glazed, attention gone. You see it happen in real time, the moment they decide you're not worth listening to. That kind of silent rejection? It hits harder than any insult. Or maybe it's worse than silence. Maybe it's the smirk, the condescending glance from someone you thought respected you, a friend, a coworker, even family. They've already filed you away as the guy who complains, who blames, who cracks under pressure. In that instant, you're not seen as a man, not a leader, just background noise. A weak footnote no one will remember by the end of the day. And it burns. Because whether you admit it or not, respect matters. It's not a luxury. It's survival. It's power. It's the difference between being taken seriously or brushed aside like a joke. And here's the brutal truth. You're leaking that respect every single day through habits so weak, so repelling, they kill your credibility before you even finish a sentence. There are 7 of these habits. They're not quirks, they're warning signs. From chasing validation to gossiping like a coward, they fester in your behavior, unnoticed, until the room goes quiet and all you're left with is your own reflection. But here's the shift. You don't have to stay there. You're not doomed to be the guy they forget or avoid. Stoicism, real battle-tested stoicism, was built by men who faced empires, betrayal, and death, and still held the line. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. They built a system to help you reclaim control over your thoughts, your words, your posture. These 7 habits, we're going to tear them down one by one, and for each one, we'll show you the Stoic principle that kills it. Clean, direct, undeniable. This isn't self-help fluff. It's war against the weakest parts of you. If this lands, if it strikes where it should, join us. Subscribe to Victory Stoic, like, share. Comment, I'm breaking the chains of disrespect. Tell us how you're fighting back. This is about reclaiming ground. No more apologies, no more weakness. Let's rebuild you into someone they can't ignore. Habit 1, complaining constantly. The whiny symphony of self-destruction. Oh, congratulations, maestro of misery. You've mastered the art of complaining. A one-man orchestra of woe, sawing away at everyone's patience with the rusty strings of life so unfair and why me? Until they're begging for the sweet relief of silence or a swift exit. You think you're just venting, letting off steam, but to the rest of the world, you're a walking, talking rain cloud, drenching every room with your soggy self-pity. And surprise, nobody's lining up to hand you an umbrella. Constant complaining doesn't make you relatable. It makes you a human repellent, the guy people dodge at parties because they'd rather talk to the houseplant. It's quieter and doesn't sob about the Wi-Fi speed. Respect? Forget it. You're not a warrior weathering the storm. You're the storm, and everyone's just trying to stay dry. Every groan about the weather, the boss, the traffic, or that barista who dared put 2 pumps of syrup instead of 3 is a neon sign flashing, I'm helpless, I'm weak, save me from my own existence. And trust me, nobody's rushing to be your knight in shining armor. They're too busy respecting the guy who shrugs off the rain and gets on with it. Let's paint a picture, shall we? Meet Dave. Poor, pitiful Dave, who's got a PhD in whining and 0 credits in shutting up. Last week, he's at the office, slumped over his desk like a deflated balloon, moaning to anyone within earshot about how the printer jammed again, how IT's useless, how his chair's too hard. Honestly, you'd think he's auditioning for the lead in Les Miserables. His coworker Sarah, meanwhile, just nods politely, plotting her escape to the break room, because she's heard the sob story 17 times this month, and she's my life, away from faking a phone call. By Friday, Sarah's chatting up Mike, the guy who fixed the printer himself without a peep, and Dave's left muttering to his stapler, wondering why nobody invites him to lunch. Respect? Dave's got none, because he's too busy conducting his pity party to notice the room's empty. Or take Lisa, queen of the family WhatsApp group, who turns every chat into her personal soap opera. The turkey's too dry at dinner? Cue a 20-minute rant about how Thanksgiving's ruined, complete with dramatic sighs and "I guess I'll just starve" vibes. Her brother texts back, a quick, "It's fine, pass the gravy." But Lisa's already spiraling. Now it's the cousins who didn't RSVP fast enough, the weather that's too cold, the dog that chewed her slipper. By the time she's done, the group's on mute, her aunt's texting "bless her heart" to someone else, and Lisa's wondering why nobody checks on her anymore. Spoiler: they're not cruel, they're exhausted. Her whining's a black hole, sucking the joy out of every holiday, and respect slipped out the back door with the last slice of pie. Here's the kicker: complaining doesn't fix a damn thing. It just makes you the loudest loser in the room. People don't admire the guy who cries about the mountain. They cheer the one who climbs it, or at least the one who doesn't bore them to death about the hike. Enter Stoicism, your sarcastic, no-nonsense life coach with a toga and a scroll, ready to slap some sense into you. Marcus Aurelius, that Roman emperor who had actual problems, like wars and plagues, not burnt toast, said it best: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Translation? Stop sobbing over the spilled milk and mop it up. Or drink it straight, who cares? Just quit making it everyone's tragedy. Stoicism's not here to hug you through your woes. It's here to hand you a mirror and say, "Look, clown, the world's a mess, always will be. Deal with it." The Stoic fix is simple but brutal. Accept what you can't change, act on what you can, and shut your trap about the rest. Printer jammed? Fix it or call IT, not the whole office for a therapy session. Turkey's dry? Eat it anyway, or order pizza. Don't turn it into a Greek tragedy. Next time you feel that wine bubbling up, pause, breathe, and ask, "Can I fix this? No, then why am I still talking?" Dave could have been the office hero if he'd grabbed a screwdriver instead of a megaphone. Lisa might still get Christmas invites if she'd laughed off the slipper instead of texting a dissertation. Complaining's a choice, and it's the one that paints "disrespect me" on your forehead. So ditch the victim act. Stoicism's got your back, but only if you stop fronting like the world owes you a gold star for surviving Monday. Respect starts when the whining stops, and that, my friend, is on you. Habit 2. Blaming others, the coward's exit ramp to nowhere. Let's talk about the Olympic sport of finger-pointing, where you, the gold medal blamer, dodge every ounce of accountability like it's a live grenade, tossing it gleefully at anyone dumb enough to stand nearby. Your boss, your spouse, the dog, hell, even the weather gets a turn. You're late to work? Traffic's fault, obviously, not the 45 minutes you spent scrolling memes. Project tanked? Clearly, your teammate's the idiot. Never mind, you didn't read the brief. Blaming others isn't just a habit, it's a lifestyle, a slimy little escape hatch you slide through whenever life dares to ask, "Hey, what's your part in this mess?" But here's the brutal punchline. While you're busy playing hot potato with responsibility, everyone around you isn't clapping. They're cringing, rolling their eyes so hard they might need a chiropractor, and mentally demoting you from grown adult to whiny toddler in a tantrum. Respect? You torched it the second you opened your mouth to pin your failures on someone else. Psychologically, this is a masterclass in alienating people. Take your coworkers. Say you're on a team with Jen and Mark, and a deadline gets missed because you forgot to send the files. You swagger into the meeting, chest puffed, and declare, "Well, Jen should have reminded me, and Mark's notes were unclear anyway." Jen's sitting there, jaw tight, replaying every email she sent you. 3 of them crystal clear, while her blood pressure climbs and her opinion of you plummets. She's not just annoyed, she's insulted, because you've turned her diligence into your scapegoat, and now she's wondering if you're lazy, dishonest, or both. Mark, meanwhile, goes quiet, too quiet, his gears turning as he processes that you've smeared his work to save your skin. He's not mad yet. He's dissecting you, filing you under unreliable jerk for the next project. They don't say it out loud. Oh no, they're too polite. But in their heads, you're no longer a teammate. You're a liability. A guy who'd rather burn bridges than carry his weight. Respect evaporates faster than spilled beer on a hot day. Or let's swing to the home front. Your partner's been asking you to fix the leaky faucet for weeks, and it's still dripping like a metronome of neglect. You finally snap. If you'd called the plumber, like I said, we wouldn't be arguing. Boom. Genius move, champ. Their eyes narrow, that slow burn of disbelief kicking in as they mentally replay the scene. You promising to handle it, you forgetting, you now twisting it into their failure. Psychologically, they're hurt first. Your deflection stings like a betrayal, but then comes the shift. They start seeing you as spineless, someone who'd rather dodge than deliver. They don't yell back, they just simmer. And every drip from that faucet now echoes your cowardice. Friends watching this unfold, like at a dinner party where you blame the burnt lasagna on bad oven instructions, feel secondhand embarrassment, their smirks barely hidden as they think, wow, this guy can't even own a kitchen fail. They're not laughing with you. They're pitying you. And pity's the opposite of respect. It's the quiet funeral for your credibility. Why does this hit so hard? Blaming triggers a primal read in people. They sense weakness, a refusal to face reality, and it's repulsive. Psychologically, humans admire strength, someone who stands tall when the chips are down, not the guy scrambling to pin the chips on someone else. When you blame, you're not just ducking guilt, you're advertising that you're too fragile to handle life's punches, and that's a signal nobody trusts. Your boss doesn't promote the blamer. He's too busy watching the one who says, "My bad, I'll fix it." Your friends don't confide in the guy who'd throw them under the bus. They lean on the one who owns his mistakes. You're not fooling anyone. You're exposing yourself as a paper tiger, and they're all taking notes. Cue Stoicism, your stern Roman uncle with zero patience for your nonsense. Epictetus drops the mic. There's only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Translation: quit crying about what went wrong and fix what you can. Or at least stop framing everyone else for your flops. The Stoic fix is a gut punch of accountability. Own your role. Full stop. Missed the deadline? I dropped the ball. Here's how I'll make it right. Faucet's still leaking? I said I'd do it and didn't. My fault. I'm on it. It's not about groveling. It's about steeling up. Because taking the hit builds more respect than dodging it ever will. Jen might forgive you if you admit you spaced out. Your partner might soften if you grab a wrench instead of an excuse. Blaming's the coward's exit. Stoicism's the warrior's stance. Choose it and watch the room stop sneering and start nodding. Habit 3. Arrogance. The fine line between pride and a punchable face. Let's get one thing straight. There's nothing wrong with a little chest puffing when you've actually earned it. Slaved over a project, hauled yourself out of the gutter, or snagged that cashmere scarf with your own sweat-soaked dollars. But the second you strut around like the universe owes you a parade for it, you've crossed into arrogance, and that, my friend, is where respect goes to choke on its own vomit. You're not just proud, you're a peacock on a power trip, flashing your feathers to remind everyone you're the top bird. And while you think they're dazzled, They're actually ducking for cover from your ego's shrapnel. The trick is intent. Show off your wins to inspire. And you're golden. Shove them in faces to prove you're better, and you're a clown begging for a pie to the snout. Arrogance isn't the victory lap. It's the victory lap with a megaphone blaring, "Bow to me, losers." And trust me, nobody's kneeling. They're just plotting how to trip you without getting caught. Psychologically, this is a tightrope walk. Get it wrong, and you're a case study in repulsion. Take Tom, who's worked his tail off to buy a $500 cashmere scarf, a trophy of late nights and side hustles. Fair play, right? He strolls into the bar, drapes it like a king's mantle, and his buddies Jake and Ellie are mid-chat about their week. If Tom says, "Guys, I finally got this after grinding for months," proof hard work pays off. Jake might nod impressed, thinking, maybe I could push harder too, and Ellie's intrigued, seeing a spark of grit she respects. But no, Tom goes full diva. "This scarf? $500, hand-woven, you wouldn't get it, beats your thrift store rags any day." Jake's jaw clenches, his rag jacket's a paycheck stretched thin, and now he's not inspired. He's pissed, feeling judged, his mind flipping from cool story to what a dick. Ellie's beer pauses mid-sip, her brain ticking. Is he flexing or just dunking on us? She's not jealous, she's offended, tallying how often Tom's wins come with a side of condescension. And her respect's now a ghost because intent matters, and his was a slap. Or take Lisa, who busted her hump for that $200 gold-plated fork. Honest labor, good for her. She posts a steak dinner pic on Instagram, and if she captioned it, "Saved up for this beauty, work hard, eat well," her cousin Mike scraping by on ramen might think, "Damn, she's killing it, motivation for me." Sarah, her old classmate, might hit like, seeing a hustle she admires. But Lisa opts for the arrogant remix. Gold fork life, $200 well spent, sorry, not sorry, some of us aim higher than plastic. Mike's gut twists. Not envy, but a sting, because plastic isn't his choice, it's his reality. And now he's not cheering, he's resenting, wondering if family's supposed to make you feel like trash. Sarah scrolls past, her thumb hovering. She knows that fork's less about dinner and more about Lisa screaming, "I'm elite." And it's not awe she feels, it's exhaustion, unfollowing because she's done with the superiority act. They see the intent, not to share a win, but to widen a gap, and their respect curdles into disdain. Here's why this lands like a brick. People don't hate success, they hate being your stepping stone. Psychologically, a humble flex sparks connection. Jake might ask Tom for tips, Mike might DM Lisa for advice, but arrogance flips it to competition, and they're not playing. Jake's not plotting to outdo Tom, he's distancing, because being belittled doesn't inspire, it alienates. Sarah's not racing Lisa for a fancier fork, she's retreating, because being pitied by a bragger feels like a lecture, not a lift. When you flaunt with a smirk, they smell insecurity masked as swagger, and it's a turnoff. Your scarf's not a crown, it's a noose, and they're happy to let you hang. Intent's the knife edge. Celebrate your grind, and they'll root for you. Crown yourself king, and they'll root for your fall. Stoicism steps in, your wise-ass mentor with a scroll and a side-eye. Seneca, who could have bragged about palaces but didn't, says, "All of us are equal in this. We are born, we suffer, we die." Translation? Drop the throne, genius. You're not above Jake or Mike, just luckier this round, so quit acting like your scarf or fork rewrote the human condition. The Stoic Fix is a humility gut check. Share your wins, sure, but make it clear why. Lift others up, not push them down. Tom could have said, "This scarf's my reward for hustling. Anyone can do it," and kept Jake's respect. Lisa could have posted, "Earned this fork through grit. Proof effort pays," and had Mike in her corner. Arrogance is a spotlight that blinds you to the crowd bolting. Stoicism's the lens that shows you're all in the same boat, so flex with purpose, not pride, and watch people cheer instead of sneer. Habit 4. Interrupting. The verbal bulldozer of your own demise. Oh, you're a conversational ninja, aren't you? Swooping in mid-sentence, slicing through someone's story with the grace of a jackhammer. Because who has time to let them finish when you've got the ultimate zinger? Or, better yet, the final word on everything. Interrupting isn't just a quirk. It's a neon billboard screaming, "I'm too impatient to care, and I don't respect you enough to listen." And while you're busy basking in your own brilliance, everyone else is plotting how to never talk to you again. You think you're showing off how quick-witted you are, cutting in with, "Oh, I know exactly what you mean," or "Let me stop you there. Here's the real deal." But to them, you're not a genius. You're a steamroller flattening their thoughts, and the respect they had for you is now roadkill. Every time you jump the gun and cap their point with your "I've got this all figured out" mic drop, you're not winning the debate. You're losing the room, because nobody trusts a know-it-all who can't shut up long enough to hear them out. Let's break down the psychological carnage. Imagine you're at a coffee shop with Priya, who's halfway through explaining how her new job's been a grind, saying, "The hours are brutal, and my boss." When you, Captain Interruptus, barrel in with, yeah, I get it, work's tough. My old gig was worse, let me tell you." Priya's lips snap shut, her eyes flicker with a mix of shock and irritation. She's not just cut off, she's dismissed, her struggle reduced to your cue for a one-up. Inside, she's seething. She wanted empathy, not a lecture, and now she's mentally drafting your eulogy as a friend. Here lies the guy who thinks my life's a springboard for his ego. She nods along, but her brain's already checked out, tallying how often you do this, and she's inching toward never sharing again. Her respect's not bruised, it's buried, because you couldn't wait 5 seconds to let her breathe. Or picture a family dinner, your uncle's spinning a tale about his fishing trip. So there I was, reeling in this massive, and you, the self-appointed sage, leap in with, "Oh, I know, it's just like that time I caught a trout, way bigger, end of story." He freezes, fork hovering, his excitement snuffed out like a candle in a hurricane. Psychologically, he's not just annoyed, he's deflated. His moment's stolen by your need to be the star. Your cousin across the table catches it too. Her eyebrows arch, a smirk tugging at her lips, because she's seen this show before, and she's silently rooting for Uncle to call you out. He doesn't. He just goes quiet, but his mind's racing. He feels small, disrespected, like his voice doesn't matter, and he's wondering why he bothers talking when you're around. The table's vibe shifts. Your aunt's fidgeting, your cousin's texting under the napkin, and they're all thinking the same thing. This guy's a jerk who can't listen. You're not clever. You're a bulldozer, and they're tired of the rubble. Why does this shred respect so fast? Psychologically, interrupting flips a switch. People go from feeling heard to feeling erased, and that's a gut punch. Priya's not mad you stole her thunder. She's hurt you didn't care enough to let her finish, and now she doubts you value her at all. Uncle's not sulking over the fish. He's stunned that you trampled his joy, and he's questioning if you see him as a person or a prop. When you cut in and slap your "I know everything" cherry on top, it's not confidence, it's arrogance laced with impatience, and it signals you're too fragile to sit with anyone else's spotlight. They don't argue back, they retreat, because humans crave connection, not a lecture hall, and you've just turned their trust into a ghost town. Your friends stop opening up, your family shortens their stories. Nobody wants to feed a conversation you'll just choke. Stoicism rolls in here like a fed-up bouncer, ready to toss your verbal chaos out the door. Epictetus, the guy who'd rather lose a leg than his cool, says, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Translation? Zip it, hotshot. Listening's not a timeout, it's a discipline, and you're flunking hard. The Stoic fix is blunt. Restrain yourself, let others talk, and quit acting like you've cracked the code to life in 3 words. Next time Priya's venting, bite your tongue. Count to 5 if you have to. And hear her out. She'll feel seen, and you'll dodge the jerk label. When Uncle's fishing yarn starts, nod, wait, ask a question. Let him land the damn thing, and he might actually like you. Interrupting's your ticket to a solo act. Stoicism's the backstage pass to respect. So take it, practice some damn patience, and watch people stop running when you open your mouth. Habit 5. Seeking constant validation. The needy puppy act that tanks your dignity. Oh, bless your heart, you little validation vampire, sucking every last drop of praise from anyone within a 5-mile radius. Because without that sweet, sweet, great job, or you're amazing, you'd shrivel up like a raisin in the sun. Seeking constant approval isn't a habit, it's a full-time gig, and you're working overtime to make sure everyone knows you're a star, even if it means groveling like a puppy begging for scraps. You think you're just fishing for a confidence boost, but to the rest of the world, you're a walking insecurity billboard, flashing, "Please love me" in neon lights, and newsflash, nobody's rushing to plug in your ego. They're too busy dagging on your neediness. Every time you sidle up with that, "So, what'd you think of my presentation?" Or, "Did I do okay there?" You're not shining, you're whining, and respect slips through your fingers faster than a greased pig at a county fair. People don't admire the guy who can't stand tall without a chorus of applause. They pity him, and pity's the grim reaper of dignity. Let's dive into the psychological swamp this creates. Picture Greg, your boss, a middle-aged suit with a corner office and a thirst for flattery that'd make a diva blush. He's gunning for a raise, and his strategy's straight out of a bad rom-com. Butter up the higher-ups with, "Just wanted your input, Mr. CEO, you're the genius here," while expecting his team to stroke his ego like he's a king, granting them the privilege of filing TPS reports. Monday meeting rolls around and Greg's preening, "Team, I nailed that pitch last week. Thoughts?" His assistant, Mia, who just wants to finish her coffee and go home, mutters, "It was fine, because she's got a kid to pick up and zero energy for this circus." Greg's smile twitches. He wanted fireworks, not fine, and inside he's spiraling. Fine? She doesn't get how brilliant I am, his insecurity flaring like a rash. He doesn't say it, but his brain's already tagged Mia as ungrateful, and by Tuesday, he's nitpicking her work, snapping, "Redo this, it's sloppy," because she didn't fan his feathers enough. Mia's not mad, she's baffled, then resentful, clocking that Greg's a grown man who'd rather sulk than stand on his own 2 feet, and her respect's now a distant memory. She's counting minutes to 5 p.m., not accolades to toss his way. Meanwhile, take Sam, Greg's other report, who's got the memo. Kiss the ring or catch the wrath. Sam lays it on thick. "Greg, that pitch was legendary. You're a rock star." And Greg's chest puffs like a pigeon on a power line, tossing Sam a, "Thanks, you're sharp," while secretly basking in the glow he craves. Sam's not sincere, he's strategic, gaming Greg's fragile ego to dodge the tantrums, but psychologically he's sneering inside. "This guy's a child, I'm just babysitting for my paycheck." Sam's respect died the first time he saw Greg fish for compliments like a kid waving a crayon drawing. Now it's a transaction, not trust. The rest of the team, quiet Priya, overworked Dan, watch this farce unfold, their silence deafening. Priya's thinking, "I'm here to code, not coddle." Her patience thinning as Greg's "How'd I do?" pings her inbox again. Dan's muttering to himself, If he's so great, why is he begging us to say it? They're not jealous or impressed. They're exhausted, their minds shifting from boss to burden, because Greg's need for validation isn't leadership, it's a leash, and they're choking on it. When he turns sour, short replies, petty critiques on those who won't play, like Mia or Priya, it's not authority, it's a tantrum, and they're mentally punching out long before the clock does. Why does this shred respect like confetti? Psychologically, people smell weakness and desperation. Greg's not a rock, he's a sponge, soaking up praise to prop himself up, and that's a red flag. Mia doesn't hate him, she pities him, and pities a death knell. She's distancing, not because she's cold, but because she can't lean on someone who'd crumble without her cheerleading. Sam's gaming it, but his contempt's real. He sees Greg's insecurity and knows a leader shouldn't grovel. Priya and Dan aren't rebelling, they're retreating because constant "tell me I'm good" drains their trust. They want a boss, not a hype man audition. Humans respect self-reliance. When you beg for validation, you're not just needy, you're fragile, and nobody bets on a house of cards. Greg's team isn't inspired. They're either plus-hating or plotting escape, and his sour swing at the non-flatterers just proves he's a bully when the mirror's empty. Stoicism crashes this pity party with a cold, hard truth. Epictetus, the ex-slave who didn't need a pat on the back to survive, cuts through. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Translation? Stop chasing claps, you needy gremlin. Your worth isn't in Mia's fine or Sam's sycophancy, it's in you. And if you can't find it solo, no raise will. Fix that hole. The Stoic Fix is a spine straightener. Quit fishing, start building. Value yourself without the echo chamber. Greg could have said, "Pitch went well, moving on," and let his work stand. Mia might have respected the quiet strength. Priya might have stayed engaged. When the urge hits to ask, "How'd I do?" swallow it, reflect instead. Did I do my best? Good enough. No tantrums needed. Dan's not your therapist. Sam's not your fan club. Seeking validation is a leash you tie yourself. Stoicism's the scissors. Cut it, stand alone, and watch respect roll in when you don't beg for it. Habit 6, overreacting. The emotional volcano that buries your credibility. Buckle up, drama royalty. Because the world's tiniest violin is tuning up for your grand performance. Overreacting isn't just a slip, it's your starring role in a soap opera nobody signed up to watch, where every spilled coffee, stubbed toe, or splashed pant leg ignites a Vesuvius-level eruption of feelings that leaves you looking less like a grown-up and more like a toddler mid-meltdown. And while you're busy spewing lava, everyone else is sprinting for the hills, clutching their respect for you like it's the last lifeboat on the Titanic. You think you're just passionate or standing up for what's right, but to them, you're a loose cannon, a walking tantrum in a tie. And every time you blow your top over life's petty jabs, you're not proving a point. You're proving you're unstable. And trust me, nobody's saluting the guy who can't keep his cool when the Wi-Fi lags, let alone when a car splashes you with a puddle. Respect doesn't bow to your fireworks, it scatters with the ashes. Let's paint the scene. Today's Monday. You're trudging to work, tie straight, coffee in hand, when some yahoo in a beat-up sedan roars by, hitting a puddle that douses you head to toe in gritty street water. And oh boy, here we go. You're off. A one-man crusade against the universe. This is outrageous. Laws need to change now. Traffic rules are a joke. Everyone in the state should audit their taxes. The government's asleep at the wheel. And that driver? Barely human, not even adulting. Probably still lives in his mom's basement. You storm into the office, dripping and fuming, and your colleagues, let's call them Tara, Raj, and Kim, are sipping their lattes, ready for a normal day, until your tirade hits like a hurricane. Tara's eyes widen mid-sip. She's thinking, it's just water, not a felony. But your volume's cranking, so she's frozen, unsure if she should nod along to calm you or risk a chill out and face the fallout. Raj, scrolling his phone, glances up, his brain ticking. Does he want us to riot over a puddle? I've got emails to answer. And he's torn. Jump on your bandwagon or call you out and spark a war? Kim's slumping in her chair, exhaustion creeping in. She's not mad, she's drained. Because your rants sucked the oxygen out of the morning, and her let's get to work vibe is DOA. They're not debating your logic, they're dissecting your sanity, and the room's vibe shifts from team spirit to please make it stop. Psychologically, this is a masterclass in awkwardness. Your overreaction doesn't rally them, it traps them. Tara's not on your side, she's embarrassed for you. Her silence a shield as she wonders how you flipped from wet pants to overthrow the state in 30 seconds flat. And she's mentally clocking this as strike 3 after last week's printer jam saga. Raj isn't inspired. He's conflicted, his gut saying, this guy's unhinged. But his manners keep him mum, though he's already decided you're the coworker he'll dodge at lunch. Your instability's a red flag, and he's not betting on a loose wire. Kim's the kicker. She's past annoyance into fatigue, her brain groaning. I didn't sign up for this circus. Because your outburst didn't just kill her buzz, it hijacked the whole morning, and she's picturing a quiet desk far, far away. They don't argue, not worth it, but their respect's crumbling. Tara's pitying, Raj is distancing, Kim's checked out, because overreacting doesn't make you fierce, it makes you fragile. And nobody trusts a volcano to lead the hike. Why does this gut respect so hard? Humans crave stability, someone who bends, not breaks, under pressure. Your puddle meltdown isn't strength, it's a neon sign flashing, I can't cope, and they're not awed, they're alienated. Tara's not plotting revenge on the driver, she's questioning if you'll flip out on her next typo. Raj isn't auditing his taxes, he's auditing your reliability, and you're failing. Kim's not rallying, she's retreating because your emotional flood drowns their faith in you as a steady hand. Overreacting turns a splash into a tsunami, and they're not swimming, they're swimming away. Because nobody roots for the guy who loses it over mud when they're dodging real storms. Stoicism swoops in, your no BS philosopher pal with a towel and a reality check. Marcus Aurelius, who faced actual barbarians, not wet socks, says, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Translation? Quit erupting, drama llama. Calm down, peel yourself off the trigger, and deal. The Stoic fix is ice-cold clarity. Detach from the splash, it's not your soul getting soaked. Car got you wet? Dry off, move on, don't declare martial law over a puddle. Walk into that office, shrug, say rough start, let's roll, and Tara might smirk, badass, not baby. Raj might nod, he's solid, not he's nuts. Kim might perk up, okay, we're good, not I'm out. Overreacting's your ticket to a solo meltdown. Stoicism's the off-ramp to respect. Take it, keep your lid on, and watch them stick around instead of scatter. Habit 7. Laziness. The art of doing nothing while everyone else cleans up your mess. Behold the couch potato laureate, the grandmaster of inertia, lounging in a throne of excuses so elaborate it'd make a soap opera writer blush. Laziness isn't just a habit, it's your personal manifesto. A glorious hymn to not today that you sing while the world spins on without you. And while you're busy perfecting the art of doing zilch, everyone else is picking up your slack, rolling their eyes so hard they're practically doing cardio. You've got 1,000 reasons why the dishes can wait. I'm tired, it's late, the sponge is gross, and a PhD in apologies. Sorry, I'll get to it, promise. Or better yet, a black belt in blame. If the meeting wasn't so long, I'd have done it. But let's call it what it is. You're not waiting for the right vibe. You're lazy, a sloth in human skin banking on inspiration that never shows. And the kicker? You think you're winning because the go-getters around you swoop in to finish the job, leaving you smirking like you've just pulled off the heist of the century. Spoiler, they're not your maids. They're your mourners, burying their respect for you with every chore you dodge. Let's zoom in. Meet Nate, king of the I'll do it later empire, sprawled at the office like it's his personal nap pod. Surrounded by a fortress of excuses thicker than a brick wall, the team's got a report due, and Nate's got a script. I'd have started, but the Wi-Fi's spotty, my chair's uncomfy, and I'm just not feeling it. Maybe tomorrow when I'm inspired. He tosses out a limp, "Sorry guys, my bad." Or a slick, "If Priya hadn't hogged the printer, I'd be on it." While his coworker Priya, type A, coffee-fueled Priya, sighs, grabs the data, and bangs out the report herself because deadlines don't wait for Nate's muse. Across the desk, Raj, the quiet grinder, sees the pattern. Nate's oops act last week. The blame the tech dodge before that. And he's already rewriting the slides Nate forgot, his jaw tight, not from anger but from sheer fatigue. They don't say it, but Priya's thinking, this guy's a leech, I'm not his secretary. Her respect for Nate now a fossil, replaced by a grudging, fine, I'll do it. Because she'd rather win than watch him sink the ship. Raj's mind's darker. He's not sorry, he's lazy, and I'm done carrying him. His diligence souring into resentment as he wonders why Nate's still employed. Nate, meanwhile, leans back, smug as a cat. Sweet. They've got it. I'm off the hook, oblivious that his win is a tombstone for his credibility. Or take the home front. Nate's roommate, Kim, the organized one who keeps the place from turning into a biohazard. The trash is overflowing and Nate's got his anthem. I'd take it out, but I'm wiped from work and the bin's too far. Sorry, Kim, you know how it is. Kim, who's juggling a 9-to-5 and night classes, stares at the pile, then hauls it out herself, her brain simmering. Wiped? He scrolled TikTok for 3 hours. She's not just annoyed, she's disillusioned, seeing Nate's sorry as a flimsy mask for I don't care, and her respect's eroding with every bag she drags. Nate's cousin, visiting last week, chipped in too, vacuumed while Nate rested, and left thinking, he's not busy, he's useless. His pity masking a quiet scorn. Kim and the cousin don't cheer Nate's, I'll get it next time. They're over it, their energy sapped by his inertia, and Nate's grinning, they're so nice to handle it. Missing that they're not nice, they're fed up, and he's not hitching a ride, he's hitching a hearse for their trust. Psychologically, this is a slow-motion train wreck. Laziness doesn't just dodge work, it dumps it, and people feel that weight. Priya's not jealous of Nate's chill. She's insulted, her hustle mocked by his slouch, and her I'll do it isn't kindness, it's survival, tinged with a growing, why bother with him? Raj isn't impressed, he's detached, his respect swapped for a cold calculation. He's dead weight, I'll outlast him. Kim's not supportive. She's betrayed, her effort a silent scream of, you're not my equal, and every sorry from Nate twists the knife. She'd rather he admit he's lazy than fake remorse. They don't argue, they adapt, but their minds shift. Nate's not a teammate or a friend, he's a parasite, and their diligence isn't a gift, it's a grudge. Humans respect action. Laziness paints you as a flake, and they don't root for the guy who waits for lightning when they're striking the flint. Stoicism storms in. Your tough love drill sergeant with no time for your sob story. Marcus Aurelius, who ran an empire while you can't run a vacuum, snaps. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears, so act with purpose. Translation? Quit your excuse parade, slug. Do something, anything, with intent, because life's too short for I'll try later. The Stoic fix is a kick in the pants. Stop waiting for inspiration, pick a goal and move. Trash stinks? Haul it, reports due, write it. Nate could have typed one page, said, "I started, Priya, your turn," and kept her faith. Raj might have seen grit, not grift. Kim might have smiled if he grabbed the bin unasked. Laziness is your anchor, Stoicism's the chain cutter. Act, own it, and watch them nod instead of nope out. Conclusion: ditch the trash habits and rise like a Stoic monk. So there you have it, the grand parade of 7 soul-crushing habits. Complaining like a broken record, blaming everyone but your mirror, strutting around with arrogance dripping from your overpriced scarf, interrupting like you're the only voice that matters, begging for validation like a lost puppy, overreacting to a puddle like it's Armageddon, gossiping like a tabloid on legs, showing up late like time's your servant, lazing about while others mop up your mess, lying through your teeth, bragging till the room gags, stonewalling empathy, breaking promises, clinging to stubbornness, acting like you're always right, slobbing through life, whining about cash, rushing like an impatient toddler, forgetting gratitude and judging everyone but yourself. That turn you into a walking disrespect me sign, a magnet for eye rolls, pity, and quiet exits. These aren't quirks, they're shackles, chaining you to a version of yourself nobody wants to cheer for. And the longer you let them fester, the deeper you dig that grave where respect goes to rot. But here's the lifeline. Stoicism, that gritty, no-nonsense philosophy from the likes of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, isn't just a fix. It's a revolution, handing you the tools to torch these habits and forge a spine of steel. It's not about hugging your flaws. It's about facing them, owning them, and crushing them with purpose, humility, and calm. Because the power's in you, not the applause or the excuses. Stop now, today, because every second you cling to these habits is another shovel of dirt on your dignity. Build an image worth respecting, steady, reliable, real. Living Stoic doesn't just claw back the nods you've lost, it transforms you into the best damn version of yourself. The one people don't just tolerate, but admire. Thanks for watching Victory Stoic. If this hit you where it counts, like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment with "I'm forging my Stoic steel." Plus your story of kicking one of these habits to the curb. Let's rise together. Because you're not here to flop. You're here to conquer.